You ready to go? Hello and welcome back to the Second and Two podcast. I'm your host, TB. Got my co-host, producer extraordinaire, closet Rams fan, outward Broncos fan, secretly Texas fan, maybe a UCLA fan, judging by the flags. Master of the grills and all around one of the best people we know, Jodye.
Yeah, that would be me. Like the guy who doesn't own a team, I guess. Yesterday we we got that message from Jared. Shout out Jared. He said, "Yo, are you a Rams fan or a Broncos fan?" Then obviously the flags in the background. Those are from our guy Mitch, well-known Texas fan. Probably sad boy after this weekend, but tough. Yeah, I mean,
Not
I know.
back.
Huh?
I said they are not back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going into the transfer next year to the SEC, I mean, they're looking solid. It's just, big
Nah,
rivalry
that
game.
was that was a tough loss. Oklahoma's a good
Yeah.
team. You
Yeah. I mean, they
really,
were 12 when it happened.
If you're Texas, what you're hoping for is you get them in the Big 12 championship again,
Yeah.
and you avenge the one loss you have, and that's your path to the playoffs. So they're still
Exactly.
alive.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not the end of the world.
And yeah, I mean, and the schedule with them being on the schedule when they just played this past weekend, it was what 5 versus 12. So like, it's not like they lost to like unranked. I don't know, Air Force, I guess, but
Yeah,
it was still a definitely tough team. Good game to watch, I'll tell you that. Really early, of course, 9 a.m. for me at least. And so, yeah, it was a good game, good weekend. How about you, man? How was your football game this past week?
oh man, we got a big win. We won 28-14. So the
There you
bye
go.
week was really productive. Won
Yeah,
our first game in the district. So these are the games that determine the playoffs. I think I explained that last week.
yeah.
So we won 28-14. Defensively, we gave up 2 touchdowns on the first 2 drives, and then the rest of the way
And that
shut
was
them
it.
out.
Shut them out. Okay.
Yeah, that really good quarterback, good player, tough to play against. He finds you when you think that you're good. Like he'll sprint out right and then find you left. I mean, he made a throw in 2 minute drill right before the end
Across
of the
the
half
field.
where he literally put it right on the sideline, 40 yards down the field, like on a rope. Probably the best throw I've seen a high school quarterback make in a while.
Dang,
So
that's impressive.
good player. But we got him. It was our first district win in 11-man football because there was like a little 3 year period where we were 6-man
Didn't
football.
have
Obviously,
enough.
yeah. So they were 6-man. But
Dang.
our first district win in 11-man football since 2016. Yeah.
Dang. You're just shattering
So
everything out there, bro.
yeah. So we had our best start since 2004. First district win since 2016. We're 4-2 right now. 1-0 in the district.
There you go.
And we got another big game Friday. Another really tough opponent. They provide different challenges. They run power and counter until the cows
Okay.
come home, and they're
All
good
right.
at it.
Some big
So
boys, huh?
yeah, they're gonna run the ball and they're gonna be tough. So we got to be tough too, and we'll have to play
Makes sense.
better, I think, than we did last Friday to win this Friday. So it'll be a good game.
Yeah, it sounds like a tough team just based off that analysis. I mean, if you're running all day, you got some workhorses back there, and strong dudes in the legs. I'm assuming
Yeah,
just built to run 12 play drives and whatnot.
yeah, and I will say this: shout out to our quarterback. He's he's a dude, bro.
Yeah,
He had a
he,
run
he
Friday.
getting calls now.
He had a run on Friday that was legit reminiscent of Beastquake.
Who?
Beastquake, bro. The Beastquake?
I don't know. Don't
Seahawks at
know.
the Saints, Marshawn Lynch,
Oh,
playoffs, the
the
Beastquake.
beast mode.
Yeah, the Beastquake when he went
I did
crazy.
not know that's what they called. I thought it was called the beast mode
Well,
with
he is
the
beast
whole
mode,
nine.
but that run is known as the Beastquake.
Oh, I didn't know that's what they were calling it. To be honest, I thought it had a different
So
name.
So
He
our
was just running
guy,
over everyone then, huh?
dude, he just I mean
Breaking
he so
arm tackles.
we were up 22-14 at that point, and he went beast mode on his run and
Uh-huh.
put it away to go up 28-14. So yeah, it was a
Okay.
big time play. It was like a 76-yard touchdown. It's
Uh,
crazy from a
hey,
quarterback.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
a long ways.
yeah, he's a ball player. But so we got another big one this week. We'll keep you updated. I'll let you guys know next weekend how we do. But we got to get to some NFL news. So first and foremost, I'd like to be the one to reintroduce the world to none other than Cooper Cup. My guy came out there and had 3 catches on the first drive.
Bro,
Um,
yeah, I will say it was nice to hear the coo after every catch again. It was really electric, I'll tell you that.
oh, our guy and our guy got the tickets, by the way. You got
Yeah,
the tickets. You were
yeah, we
at the
did.
game. Shout out Johnny.
Yeah,
Um,
he hit me with the bro. This guy sent he Johnny texted me and said, "Bro, this guy said let me get the tickets with the dead emoji." He had me rolling when he sent that though.
that's so funny. So Coop came back 8 catches, 118 yards in a loss, but looked pretty good. Didn't look all the way. There were still like a couple misconnections between him and Stafford that you could just
Yeah, yeah,
tell
that's for sure.
they haven't worked together as much this year, and I'm sure that'll get better as it goes. But what was the environment like there?
Oh, it was nice. I was underwhelmed by these Eagles fans. The only thing that was good that they were doing is the tailgating. They were going crazy, man. Every corner you turned, you hear Eagles, right? You get the chant going like crazy. But in the game, bro, they weren't too loud. I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of sad by that. I thought and I didn't see no fights. Not really. I thought Philly loves to fight. They were just crazy fans in general.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I will say the Lady Eagles, some dimes out there, bro. Let me
Really?
tell you. Yeah, they
The
got
Lady
a nice looking
Eagles.
the Lady Eagles, a nice looking fan base for sure. And let's see what other mental notes did I have? Oh, they were only really loud on third down, right? Kind of
Okay.
expected, but
Mhm.
other than that, they weren't really like chanting on defense. And then my other note that I had for them was the Kelly Greens are really nice, bro. I've never seen one
You
up
saw a
close
lot of
like that.
fans wearing them. Yeah.
Yeah. And then with that being said, like Jalen Hurts and probably Jason Kelsey, probably the two jerseys I've seen the most of outside of like older people, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was a good game. Obviously, up until the end there in the fourth quarter, kind of lost it all. But I was glad to be there. It was fun to watch in person. The tush push, crazy. It's
Unstoppable.
just yeah, literally. It looked like we had a couple chances to stop on two different ones, but it was like after you get the dudes coming off the edge with that extra push, it was like give it to them.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of the Eagles, 2 teams left that are undefeated,
Yeah,
the
them and the
49ers
Niners.
and the Eagles. They're both 5-0.
Yeah,
Looks like those 2 will battle it out for the 1 seed the rest of the season,
yeah,
I would
pretty
imagine.
much. I mean, they play each other, don't they? In a little bit.
They will eventually, yes.
Yeah,
And then if you look out on the other side of the NFL, the AFC, the Dolphins and Chiefs are tied for the 1 seed at 4-1. And then
yeah,
there's just a million teams at 3-2. You've got the Steelers, the Jaguars, the Colts, the Ravens, the Browns, and then or the Bills, and then the Browns and the Chargers are both 2-2 on a bye. So it's
yeah.
just it feels like the AFC is going to be chaos in terms of who actually
Who
gets in.
gets
It's going
in
to go
at the
down
end?
to the
Yeah.
wire. There's going to be a good football team that misses the playoffs in the AFC.
Oh, no
It's very
doubt.
clear at this point that that's the case because you've got again, after the Dolphins and Chiefs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams sitting 500 or better.
Yeah,
Um, After week 5, that's a
that's
lot. I
not
mean,
enough for them to make
that's
it.
9 total teams that are 500 or
Yeah,
better in the AFC right now. Only seven of them can make the playoffs. And we said preseason, this is what we thought, and that
yeah.
was including when we thought the Jets would have Aaron Rodgers. And that
True.
was including us expecting the Patriots to be better than they've been.
Yeah,
And
that's tough too.
those two teams, it kind of feels like are out. That's not even including the Bengals, who are 2-3, who are another team that we
Mhm.
figure will probably factor in down the stretch after what we kind of thought would happen with the slow start because of Burrow's
Yeah,
injury.
exactly.
So the AFC is going to be a bloodbath, man. We'll see which
Who's the
7 teams come
healthiest,
out.
basically, honestly. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see unfold down the road. We also got Anthony Richardson. He got hurt. He hurt his AC joint. Don't know which
Speaking of
arm that
healthy,
is, but yeah. And then Derek Carr got injured again. I take it in that Saints game too. Tough. I
no, I
mean,
think Richardson's injury is the same as Carr's, the
oh, okay,
AC
okay,
joint. Yeah, similar
gotcha.
deal on the. I think his is the throwing shoulder though,
Okay.
so it looks like they're expecting him to miss at least a week.
I will say Anthony Richardson, as fun as he is to watch, he does get hurt a lot just because the mobility quarterbacks they take too many hits, whether it's while they're running the ball or in the backfield scrambling and whatnot. So that's always the tough one to see is when you got someone who makes the game not much more fun, and then they just miss at least like 5 games plus for those exact reasons.
Well, and he's a bigger guy, and
Yeah,
I
he
feel
does
like
look
he's
more
got this big
stocky.
target, so it's hard because I don't think he's treated as like a runner. Like
Yeah,
it's a
that's
little bit
true.
tougher for him. So he's gonna have to be careful moving forward. Reminds me of Cam Newton a little bit. Cam Newton
Yeah,
was
I
always
will
beat up
say he
too.
just looked a lot
Such a
taller
big
though
guy, like
compared
a
to
tank.
Anthony Richardson. Yeah.
But in other news, you've got the Patriots imploding. Uh, they've lost back-to-back games by 30 plus, which had
That's
never happened
crazy.
under Bill Belichick.
Billy B, yeah.
For reference on this and how crazy this is, my dad is in a like one of those Survivor League type thing. Well, it's not Survivor
Oh,
League.
yeah, yeah.
It's just a pick 'em. He picks every
Okay.
game, and it's a pool, and the winner
Yeah.
at work. It's with his work,
I'm in
and the
one of
winner
those,
gets
yeah.
money. And he asked me this week. He asked me every week, like on all the
Uh-huh.
games, what do I think? And I always give him my opinion. And usually there's like 2 games. He's like, "Nah, I'm picking this way." And
Yeah.
sometimes I can convince him. Like I convinced him to pick the Falcons to beat the Texans this week.
Oh, really? Dang,
Yeah,
that's tough.
and so he was the Falcons. He got that one, so
Yeah.
he was happy about it. But we're talking about the Patriots Saints game, and I was like, well, I think the Saints are better, but it's at home. The Pats just lost by 30 plus. It's Bill
Yeah.
Belichick. He's the greatest head coach of all time. No way they're going to be 1-4 and lose back to back like that, right?
Yeah.
So I convinced them to pick the Patriots, and
Dang. That's hurt. He's hurting on that one, huh? I guess it was a
they,
give and take. You got him to get right on one, and the other one he missed a little
yeah,
bit.
they're. I
It
mean, so
was a
they're
tough
one
week
and
for
four.
picking, though. I'll say that.
They're 1-4 now, and they have very few reasons to be excited moving forward. I don't know that there's a lot that they can do differently this season that will make a difference. It kind of feels like they're going to be in the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Maybe the thing they could be most excited for, Caleb Williams. Do you
I
do
don't
you
know,
tank
man.
it?
The Bears are looking like they got a sure thing over there with that pick.
Well, they just won. They just
Yeah, but
won.
the other people
The
they got that
Panthers,
first pick. Yeah,
the
exactly.
Panthers,
They
yeah,
haven't. They're still winless, so they at least have a guaranteed top five. I would say at least.
yeah. No, probably 2 top 5 picks.
True,
Um,
but I'm gonna say at least one. Maybe things turn around. Who knows?
so speaking of 1-4, the Vikings. They say that regression to the mean can be tough.
Yeah, we're
The
seeing it for
Vikings, they're
sure.
slowly becoming a really big story in the sense that they were 11-0 last year in one-score games. That was the greatest single season mark in NFL history in that
Yeah.
stat.
Well, they had a negative point differential, right? But they won more games
But
still, which is
they
crazy.
won. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
still 14-3 or whatever, 13 and
Yeah.
4. And then they lost in the first round of the playoffs, which is the most predictable thing ever.
Yeah.
They now this year, they're 1-4 and they're all one score games. So now they've gone to one in the just the next year. They're 1-4 in one score games.
Mhm.
So the regression to the mean was predictable. We said they would take a step back. I predicted them to be a 7-10 team this year. They're looking more like a 5-12 kind of team. The way they're
Ooh.
playing right now, it's been rough. That regression to the mean has been harsh, despite how predictable it was.
Yeah, well, I also seen Justin Jefferson got hurt. Do you know what happened with that?
Jefferson sounds like he tweaked a hamstring. Could be out
Okay.
for a week or two. You never know with those things. Could be right back. Could be 4 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly. I know
Kelsey
Kelsey
got
got hurt
hurt.
too. Yeah, my
He
buddy
came back
texted me
in.
on that one.
He came back in low ankle sprain. He'll probably be fine. Won't miss a lot of time, I would imagine. He'll probably
Uh-huh.
play again this week because he came back in that game, so I think he'll be okay.
That's where the
Just
conspiracy hat comes in for some people. Like, oh, Taylor Swift wasn't there. Now he's hurt. It's so dumb.
just keep an eye on both of those guys going forward, especially if you're a fantasy football player.
Yeah, true. And then we
Um,
got T. Higgins. He missed his first game with a rib injury. We also saw that coming in before that he was most likely not going to play. But we'll expect him next week with the Bengals again.
yeah.
And then
Um,
lastly, the Cowboys playing the Niners last night. Do you think the Cowboys are frauds? I saw our guy Skip Bayless. I don't know how real of a video this was, but he walked over to the trash bin, had a Dak Prescott jersey, and just yeeted it in there.
okay. All right. Number one, the people who want to blame Dak for that whole game are just wrong. Dak played awful. I'm not defending Dak. He played awful.
Yeah.
But their defense, which everyone was talking about in the top five, oh, the Cowboys have the best defense. Their defense got destroyed. It got, I mean, they gave up 42 points.
Yeah, that is crazy.
They gave up 42 points. Their defense got ripped to shreds. If you want to be mad as mad about that as you are with Dak.
True.
All right. I mean, that was bad. It was a bad performance all the way around, whole team.
I will
So,
say he did have a Micah Parsons jersey on the other hand, and he was questioning throwing that one in there too, but he threw it over the
okay.
shoulder and turned around.
Okay. That seems classic Skip Bayless, but um, it's interesting. I mean, they had the blowout win against the Pats the week before. They have a
Yeah.
blowout loss against the Niners. So you're just asking yourself, like, which team are they? Pretender or contender?
It's the
Three and
same
two
thing
right
we
now.
see every year, I think. Well,
Yeah,
they look really good against the people they're supposed to look good against, and then on the other hand, it's like they might not look like we thought they would against the real dogs.
yeah. I don't. Last week we talked about our top three in each conference. Do you remember?
Yeah,
I
I
said
threw them
Niners,
in
Eagles,
there, but
Lions. I did not say Cowboys for a reason. I said Niners, Eagles, Lions.
that is true. I just felt out of the NFC teams, that they would be one of the ones that were gonna make the playoffs. Sure thing in my mind. It's just a matter of
And
how far
they'll
they go
make
in
the
the playoffs.
playoffs.
We don't know.
They'll
Probably
make the
not very.
playoffs. They're probably still the fourth best team in the NFC right now, but they're just not quite where those other really there's a top two,
Yeah,
then there's the
easily.
Lions, then there's a bunch of other teams to me. And the top of those bunch of other teams is the Cowboys. It's the
Yeah.
Cowboys, it's some
So
of those teams in the
they're the
NFC
Matt
South.
Damon's leader right there.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Uh,
I think the sorry everyone, I'm losing an AirPod here. AirPods running out of juice. But I would say, you look at like whatever's coming out of the NFC South, teams like the Packers and the Rams, maybe the Commanders right now. But
yeah.
like those teams that are the rest of that pack that are
Uh-huh.
challenging for a playoff spot. I think the Cowboys are at the top of that group. They're going to probably be the fifth seed, the wild card, the top wild card team. So,
Yeah, no, I can feel that.
um,
It's just crazy. It's like it's written every year in the script, that they'll get there to the playoffs, they might be battling for that spot in their division and then they implode in the playoffs even more so. But
yep.
we've briefly
And
touched on it. Oh, my bad.
no, I just the Cowboys, they really shafted me. I know we're about to talk about our fantasy football deal.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm playing this week. I went up against my principal at the school. So there's a that.
Yeah.
So I forgot to mention that I'm in that. I got wrangled into two leagues somehow. I'm in that
I
league
only
with
knew
my
about the
college
one, so when
friends.
he told me that yesterday, I was kind of laughing to myself.
Well, yeah, I'm in. They got me. So we didn't even pick. We just auto drafted in this league at the school I'm working at. Everyone wanted to do it, and I was like, all right, I'm not.
Wait, what did you get any good people out of this auto
Yeah, my
draft?
team is the best team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but so I played the principal. And he
Yeah.
tells me during the week, he's like, "Hey, let's put something on this." And he wants to bet $20, and I'm like, "All right,
Yeah.
well, you're the principal. What am I gonna say? No." I'm like,
He's
"Okay,
like, "You want
fine."
a job on the other hand?"
So 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 I'm playing him. I go into Sunday Night Football. I'm down like 16 or something like that, and he's got
Yeah.
no one, and I've got Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Oh, 13.8 or something. I know how
Sure,
that feels.
sure thing, right? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
McCaffrey gets like 13 points and sits the whole fourth quarter because they're winning by so many points. So I end up losing by like literally 3 points. I was so
Yeah.
mad. This is why I hate fantasy football. This is why I stopped. It's
Well, you
stupid.
on that
And
same
then
game.
the other worst part about it is like their second to last touchdown. They're on the goal line, and he gets the first carry. First to goal from the one. He gets the carry,
Yeah.
doesn't score, and then they throw it to use check. And I'm like, well, that's it. It's over now. And then
Yeah.
they get the ball back off a turnover, and they put the backup running back in who scores. And I'm like,
Oh,
perfect,
Mitchell.
sick, awesome. It wasn't even Mitchell. It was some
Good,
guy named.
great, grand.
Yeah. It just, you know what? So I'm just over it. You can tell us how we're doing on our league, but I'm just telling you, I'm now. I will say in the college league that I'm in, I'm 4-1. So
Uh-huh. There
I'm
you
doing
go.
well in that
A
league.
lot a lot
Kittle, I
more
have
sample
Kittle
size
in
over
that
there.
in that league, and Kittle went off last night. So I guess
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, that's the classic Kittle game, bro. You get everyone balling, and then he'll get his one for one game and be like, "Wow, that was the greatest pick of the draft." When he was getting like I don't know, 5 to 10 points every week, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But getting into our league, this is a wild week in terms of your team, and my team just not
Okay.
doing that great. So for you, you had no running backs this week. I don't know if you caught that. Yeah, you did. Yeah, so no running backs for you. Saquon didn't play, and your other running backs were on bye. You had Eckler and Ford on a bye. So Browns and Chargers bye weeks. I currently have Josh Jacobs. Jameer Gibbs didn't play. I don't think. I think
Mm-mm.
he was hurt, and so I got nobody for my rookie spot. Josh Jacobs. I need him to get 26 actually. It'd be 25 and some change for me to beat you. And so you're talking about how CMC didn't ball. We also had Justin Jefferson, or sorry, Jamar Chase on your team, who went crazy with the 3 tutties. Right? He had. We'll talk about him later. 15 catches.
Wow.
Crazy, just amazing stats. 52 points. Now I have him on my personal league, so I can't get mad that you had him and he carried the team. But I also find it funny because one of my homies texted me, he's like, bro, Jamar is carrying your team. I was like, bro, I don't care. I was like, I still got 2 people tomorrow. I'm not going to lose to this guy either way. Like, I don't know why you're getting mad that he's finally had a good game, Like, we got 4 weeks of him getting, I don't know, like 10 to like 17. Oh, mind you, okay, while we're talking about me averaging these things, I took the time the past week to make an average for each player. So, let's see. Our highest dudes with the average. Oh, Tyreek Hill. I need to fix that because it's now Cooper Cup. Cooper's back, but Tyreek Hill would have more because he just got 30, but he's on my bench now according to the rules I made. So that's unfortunate. But let's see. Jalen Hurts. He gets 21. CMC is averaging 26, even with 13 this past week. And
Keep.
then AJ Brown gets around 20. For you, you have Saquon getting 18.25, but his sample size is small. Jamar, after this week, he gets you around 22, and Justin Jefferson around 22. But that's going to change with the injury, how long that affects him. And then Travis Kelce gets a solid 15, almost 16. Bijan, also a baller. He gets you 16.
Let's
Meanwhile,
go,
I got Jameer
Bijan.
Gibbs getting 9, and then, he just decides I shouldn't say he decides to not play. He's
You
hurt.
know who
I
else
got to
has
give
been
him.
nasty is Laporta.
Oh,
Sam
yeah.
Laporta.
He's been balling. He had what, like 18, I think, this past week.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gets some good catches and runs for sure. And then I think he gets a tutty here and there too. But yeah, so you're currently winning today. We got 121 to 96. I probably won't win unless Josh Jacobs gets like 2 touchdowns and some
That
catches.
game is at the half right now, 10-3 Raiders.
Okay. So they got another field goal before the half too, huh?
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad. But yeah, that'll be our fantasy weekly update. I haven't heard nothing from my league, which is good. You know, that dude's on crickets this week, luckily enough. Yeah. But we could get
uh,
into some awards predictions and the playoff predictions that we got for each of the, MVP, offensive rookie,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
defensive, all those things.
So last week we did kind of our quarterly QB cheers check-in. So this week we're going to do our, again, it's kind of a weird breakup the way the season goes, but it's sort of the quarterly point weeks 4 and 5. So we're going to look at our season awards and playoff predictions. Just check in where we are, what we predicted,
Yeah.
how we're feeling about it, who the front runners are right now, and see where we're at. So starting with the MVP, I predicted Lamar Jackson. After this week against the Steelers, maybe not feeling as good as I might have felt
Huh.
prior to that. He had been playing pretty well. They struggled on offense this week. So not sure. The Ravens are 3-2. Lamar's been solid, but not great. Not like some of the other quarterbacks who are probably more front runners. I mean, the current front runner right now that I saw most, if you're going by like betting odds, would be
Huh.
Tua, followed by Josh Allen, followed by Patrick Mahomes.
I was gonna say
So
the one I seen was Patty Mahomes. They're basically the same top three, just a different order.
yeah, and that's the top three in some order,
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form. Every week it's switched a little bit. Like Allen was on top last week because he beat Tua, which made
Yeah.
sense. Then Josh Allen and the Bills lose
They lose to the
in
Jags.
London this
Yeah.
week, and so it drops a little. Lamar is still semi near the top. I think he's like
Yeah.
sixth, and a lot of them fifth. Jalen Hurts is kind of another name that you see like in that four spot a lot.
Uh-huh.
So
That makes sense.
Lamar's not he's not out of it, but I'm not feeling great about my pick a quarter
Yeah.
way through. What about you?
Oh man, I thought we were doing a updated version of our list, so I don't even remember who I had originally. But I was just assuming I was gonna switch to Tua. I was gonna say like honestly my pick would have been Christian McCaffrey, but he's not. There's
Mm,
no chance, brother. The skill positions don't win those ones. So
yeah,
I threw him on the next one for the offensive player of the year,
yeah. I mean,
which is
that's who I had for the offensive player of the year, and he still seems like the front runner. I mean, that's who you would
huh.
pick right now too, right?
Yeah, oh, easily. I mean, I talk about the dude every week, I think, and not even just for the fantasy update, but in general, I think the dude just goes crazy. Obviously, down week this past week versus the Cowboys, but
He was still
George
really
Kittle went
good.
off. They still had a great game. It's not like he was, not doing anything.
Yeah. If we look at the defensive player of the year, I had Micah Parsons. I think he's still. I mean, I think he's the front runner right now, even after Sunday Night Football this week.
Uh
He's
huh.
still the likely front runner. I mean, I know Miles Garrett is another name that's floated around, and TJ Watt is always kind of near the front. And you can
Yeah,
never forget about, Aaron Donald, but at this point, it feels like he would be fourth after those guys.
yeah. I was gonna say I think I had T.J. Watt originally, but I'm just gonna switch it to Miles Garrett. That they have a way better defense compared to TJ Watt. Granted, I saw some highlights of the game from him this past weekend, but it he can only do so much himself to where like the defense is still, still functioning, but just not as high as you'd want it to in order for you to make it look like a better, you know, environment. I don't even know if that's the word I'm looking for,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so definitely switching on that one for sure.
Um,
Next up, we got the offensive rookie of the year. I mean, some dudes that I like that aren't necessarily at the top, I would say probably Bijan. But it's similar, I would say, to the just MVP in general. Probably going to a quarterback that getting some legs under him. So C.J. Stroud, still hasn't thrown a pick. Good for the guy down in Houston. I was gonna say in Texas, but there's three different teams down there. You looks like you were looking at Anthony Richardson. At this point, I'd say health, because he's definitely lighten up the numbers and more so than just throwing the ball compared to CJ
yeah,
Stroud. But
he was my preseason pick just because I kind of bought into some of the hype, and Shane Steichen has done exactly what I thought he would do with him. But yeah, I think the
uh-huh.
thing that's holding him back from probably having a real shot at the award is just the injuries. He's already missed one game. He's probably going to miss at least one more here,
Yeah.
if not two. So, I mean, and then CJ Stroud right now is having it. He's just playing historic football for a rookie quarterback. He's on a run right now. That's just we haven't really seen anything like it. A rookie
Yeah,
QB
no,
play this
exactly.
well this quickly. So, yeah, Stroud, it's probably his to lose right now.
Well, I will say there's a culmination of things, right? He's got the first year coach, team that wasn't necessarily doing well in recent time. Got the two picks early on, right, in the last draft. Like they done a lot to change everything up down there, and they're doing some well. So
Yeah,
definitely some credit to him and that squad, and even D'Amico Ryans.
for sure.
Let's see, defensive rookie of the year. What were you looking at there? I know.
Well, I had Christian Gonzalez,
Uh
sad face, that he played so
huh.
well the first couple of games.
Yeah.
And then he then
And he
he,
got
he
that
gets
injury.
hurt. He tore the labrum, and now he's out for the year, surgery. So
Man.
pretty sad about it because he was a really good player. It really hurt the Patriots defense that they've lost him. It's so much so that
Well,
they
they had
went
to go
and
pick up, right? They
yeah,
picked up that
J.C.
corner.
Jackson
Yeah.
with the Chargers. They made a little trade, late round pick swap to get J.C. Jackson, which certainly helps them. But yeah, just Christian Gonzalez was going to be really good for this year, and now he's going to miss the year, so it kind of sucks. I mean, I would say the current front runner would be Jalen Carter in Philly because
Yeah,
he's
true.
just been a dog for the
Pairing up
first
D
five
line or O
weeks.
lines. Yeah.
Yeah,
I I will say I like Brian Branch there in terms of other dudes lighting up. I think he's got like 3 picks, right?
yeah.
Up until this point. Also another dude though, he's been on and off with I think the ankle injury. So uh, if he can stay healthy down the road, maybe take another week off, get to full health, and then just keep balling. He's been playing great. Big name out there with Anzalone on the Lions that you always hear, I think, a lot.
Yeah. Comeback player of the year, Joe. Who are you thinking there?
I mean, I still think DeMar Hamlin runs away with it as long as he,
Yep.
gets some solid production on the D, like in one game out of the next, what is it, 12? I think it's basically his. But if there's any other people I'd like to look at, just maybe think there's some good value for him. I'd say probably either Matt Stafford or Baker. Baker has a chance
Both
to
those
get those
guys,
dude to the
they're both
playoffs.
in the top five right now on
Oh,
odds.
okay,
So
yeah,
that yeah, you're not wrong there. And Stafford was my preseason pick
uh huh,
outside of Hamlin. Like I said, I
yeah.
mean, we kind of one of those like where you already know who won the award, but if you were just going somewhere else to say, hey, another guy that we want to recognize, yeah, Stafford was kind of the guy I was looking at, and so far he's lived up to that.
He's looking
Baker's
good
been
too.
incredible though. I mean, the best version of himself for sure.
And in like what, like 3 4 years, I'd say, since that
Yeah,
playoff run they had. Yeah, I mean, coach of the year, I couldn't really tell you where I went with this one originally, but it might have been our guy Dan Campbell actually. But
I believe you did say Dan Campbell.
yeah, I think it was there, but I wanted to switch it up because I didn't want to piggyback too much with you on yours just because it's like we got to see we got to look at more options. Keep our eyes
Mhm.
open. So I was thinking maybe Mike McDaniel. I mean, they're 4-1. They're looking really good down there in Miami. And then maybe even Kyle Shanahan. I don't know if he's ever had this award in recent time, but I mean, 5-0 start. This guy's got Brock Purdy undefeated in the regular season between last year and this year still. So I think those are some good front runners outside of Dan Campbell, who's going to probably end up in at least like 10-win year, maybe more. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they never give it to like the established coaches. So like the McVays,
Yeah.
Belichick's,
No,
the
yeah, I feel that.
Shanahans, the Mike Tomlin, like those guys almost never win it. It feels like it's almost.
Like the
I
younger
mean, someone
coaches.
could do some research on this, but it feels like it's 9 times out of 10. It's like a new coach or second year
Yeah.
coach.
Yeah, I
So
feel that.
that being said, I know I originally I'm mad at
Yeah.
myself because I said I really like Shane Steichen with the Colts. Remember, I was talking about I thought the Colts
Yeah.
might be better than we thought, and of course they're better than we
Yeah,
thought.
they're definitely
But
looking
then
better.
I drank the juice and I said that my pick was Sean Payton, and
You
I
wanted
just
a Broncos country, let's ride out there.
and I should have really just said Shane Steichen and not put hitch my wagon to Sean Payton. So right now, the current front runner would be Dan Campbell, but Steichen is in the top 4 right now, or top 3, I
Yeah.
believe, in terms of odds for Coach of the Year. So he's doing a really good job. All right, Executive of the Year, one that doesn't get talked about a lot, but who would you have?
Originally, I don't know. I think I might have said the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever his name is.
John
Unfortunately, I don't
Schneider.
have it.
We
There
both
you go.
we both kind of agreed on that, I believe. Was
Yeah,
John Schneider
they
with
just
the
had a great
Seahawks.
draft. We talking
Yeah,
about, but I think I'm gonna switch up to the Lions. Brad Holmes. I think
Brad
that's another
Holmes has
good
had a
one.
really
If
good
Dan Campbell
couple
doesn't
years.
get that coach, I think this makes sense here. You know.
Hmm. I agree. Um, the current front runner right now would be Chris Greer with the Dolphins.
Okay.
A lot of people like A Chain in the draft.
Yeah.
Some of the moves they made on the defensive side of the ball. Ramsey hasn't even played yet.
True.
Um,
They got Chubb
they
last
got
year, and
and then they signed the linebacker David Long. They hired Vic Fangio. So they've done a lot, I think, to help Tua on the offensive line. I mean, all that.
yeah,
So
and build
Chris
up.
Greer is a good pick. I think John Schneider and the Seahawks are having a good year. He's not out of it. And then Brad Holmes has got to be someone who's talked about with the way he's maneuvered since the Goff
Yeah.
trade. They've made the most of all those picks, and everyone hated their draft just because they drafted a linebacker and running back. But then they
Yeah.
also drafted guys later like Sam Laporta
Who's
and
balling?
Brian Branch
Yeah.
who are killing it right now. So,
Yeah. Get
um,
in, start eating.
yeah, I think any of those guys would be good picks for executives of the year.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree. I feel like that one's a lot more open as opposed to coach, but it's like
Yeah,
the same camp has to be, I'm assuming. But let's
yeah.
look at our playoff predictions that we got. The what do you got in the AFC?
So in the AFC, originally I picked the Ravens to be the 1 seed, Chiefs as the 2 seed, Bills, Jaguars as the 3 and 4 seeds, and then Jets, Chargers, Bengals as my wild card teams. Well, right now the Ravens are 3 and 2. If the season ended today, they would be the 5 seed, I believe. The Chiefs are 4 and 1. They would be the 1 seed. The Dolphins are also 4 and 1. They would be the 2 seed, or they're tied for the 1 seed. I didn't even have the Dolphins in the playoffs, so that idiotic move by me. The Bills are 3 and 2 right now. They would be the 6th seed. The Jaguars are 3 and 2. They would be in the 4th spot, so I'm right on them, I guess. The Jets, they're 2 and 3. Playoffs look not likely right now unless Zach Wilson just starts playing way better. The Chargers are 2 and 2. Who knows with that team? The Bengals are 2 and 3. And again, they wouldn't be in it right now either. So the Steelers are a team that would be in right now.
Yeah.
That we mentioned, the Bengals or the Browns are hanging right there. And again, the Dolphins were a team that I had out that right now, season end today, would be at least tied for the 1 seed. So in the AFC, um, not completely off, and all of that is still alive and in play, but certainly missed on the Dolphins. Would be what I would say is my
Oh
big
yeah.
miss right now.
I mean, I think I definitely missed on that one as well. I think I threw the Broncos in there too, from what I
Yeah,
remember, and then I don't even think we had two teams coming out of another division besides either the Bengals one or I said the Broncos obviously, so there was two there, but what was it? NFC or AFC South, I'm assuming, right? We didn't
hmm
expect anyone besides one of those teams. But I
yeah.
mean, like I said, I thought we were doing predictions again. We are updating our list, so I wrote down the Dolphins, Bills, Chiefs, right? All I'm assuming those ones are all in the Ravens, all winning their division, and then we got Jags, Colts, and Bengals. Is what I got right now as who I think will make the playoffs.
Who do you think is going to win the division, Dolphins or Bills?
Ooh, I mean, I think, granted, the Bills already down an extra leg, with that loss after this weekend, but
But they do have the tiebreaker right now because they
yeah,
beat the Dolphins. So
yeah. But I mean, they do play again, so there's still another chance to see what happens there. I want to say the Dolphins just because I feel like they could just run up the score with anyone. It doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily matter. And there's such a quick strike uh, offense that's like, well, they both are. I want to be honest, actually. I think they both kind of are. But I think the Dolphins also have a more established running game than they do with the Bills. I'm not saying Cook isn't using his legs often, but I feel like we've seen the Dolphins have much more success, especially with they got all the motions and stuff. They use a lot more with the run game, with their wideouts and stuff too, not just going deep. And they're just fast. I heard today that they got the top 7 recorded plays by any runner in the games in the past 5 weeks. They got Tyreek and A Chain at like 3 different spots, and then Mostert at one of them as well.
yeah, they're so fast. Their
Yeah,
team speed is insane. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think the Dolphins probably have the upper hand right now, but it's close.
yeah,
In the NFC, I predict the Eagles to be the 1 seed so far. That looks like very, very possible. I had the Seahawks winning the division and being the 2 seed. They haven't played the Niners yet,
mm,
so I guess we'll see. The jury's still out. They're 3-1, so that's
yeah,
not
true.
impossible. The Saints I had as the 3 seed. They're 3-2. They've looked kind of up and down. Good some weeks, not good others. The Lions are 4-1. They look
Mm,
really good. So I still feel pretty good about my division winners, except I mean, at this point, it's kind of tough not to think that the Niners will win that division. The Seahawks could hang around for a while, but the Niners will probably win that division. My other 3 picks, I feel pretty good about. The Cowboys I had as the top wild card. They're three and
yeah,
two. That could still very much happen. The 49ers I had as the next wild card, like I just mentioned, they'll probably win the division. That'll them and the Seahawks will probably flip flop. And then I had the Rams as the 7 seed, which I think they're on track to do that right
yeah,
now. I mean, they've played a really tough schedule. You figure 2 of their losses are the Eagles and the 49ers, the 2 undefeated teams. So kind of tough. And
yeah.
then the
Johnny had me sold on
Buccaneers,
them yesterday.
the Buccaneers, are a team that I whiffed on, like I did in the
Uh
AFC
huh.
with the Dolphins. I did not. Now I really thought I knew the Dolphins would be good. I just thought they barely missed the playoffs. I thought the Buccaneers would be awful, and they're
Yeah,
3-1, and Baker's playing his best football of his career. So the Bucs are going to challenge the Saints for that division. They beat them last
yeah,
week.
true.
They're on bye this week, and the Saints got that win. So the Buccaneers are technically leading the division right now by a half game plus a tiebreaker. But we'll see how that division goes. As the season plays out, we'll see what happens. Obviously, they have to play each other again, so we'll see.
Yeah, I actually found where I had my teams listed. So in the AFC, I missed on the Jets. I was a big front runner on the Jets
Yeah,
when.
you love the Jets. I
Yeah,
remember.
I was a big Aaron Rodgers guy. And also, speaking of which, I also found my thing for the awards, and I had Aaron Rodgers at MVP. So that's a
Yeah.
sad one. That's a sad one. But for the NFC, I went with the Eagles and Niners tied, with the Eagles taking the 1 seed because I guess I assumed I had them winning that game they played against each other. And then I got Saints and Lions for the other 2 divisions. And then the 3 looking in, I got Seahawks, Cowboys, Packers. I actually, when I flipped it this week, I brought in the Bucks over the Saints. I swapped those 2. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel better on the Bucks winning that division now as I did before because we didn't expect them to do too much.
Hmm.
And then I guess I had the Vikings and Rams outside looking in on the playoffs, which is
Oh,
still
I
very
remember
doable.
you thought the Vikings were going to be the playoff team. I forgot that was kind of your late last minute switch up.
Yeah, yeah, I threw in I guess the Packers at the end because I have 12-5, 12-5 Niners Eagles, 11-6, 11-6 Cowboys Seahawks.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that now. So that's kind of the quarter waypoint check in. We'll see how these things go. I think we'll check in again, around week 9 probably, and see where we're at.
Okay, yeah, that
Um,
sounds good.
but let's get to awards for the day.
Yes, sir. Here, I'll start it off with kick off the Tukwa Gamer of the Week. You know, we got it. I talked about it briefly earlier in the fantasy update. I went with Jamar Chase. just it was good to see him gritty again. It was the first touchdown he had all year. Yeah, yeah. You got to get the little shots up. Do whatever you want. They hit him with the little rock to the sides. Yeah, three goggles, whatever you want. My guy was having fun. He hit the three shot. The three tutties on him. So yeah, my guy went 15 catches on 19 targets, 192 yards, three touchdowns, and then I also recently saw they kept track on how many first downs you get. So he had 14 of those. Basically every
Wow.
catch. Yeah, every catch he had was pretty much a first. So
Well,
very impressive weekend by the guy. Yeah,
speaking of three tutties, my
another
guy
man.
George Kittle had a hat trick.
Yep.
First ever hat trick on Sunday Night Football. 3 catches, 67 yards, 3 touchdowns. Every
Hey,
catch
that's a
he had
stat
was a
line.
touchdown.
Yeah.
Um, all the incredible blocking he does, obviously, and he led the 49ers to a rout of the Cowboys and a statement in front of America on Sunday Night Football. So my dog of the week, George Kittle,
Yes, sir.
or
Now,
gamer of the week, I should say.
yeah, yeah, you're good. Hey, maybe you wanted to upgrade his title a little bit.
Yeah.
Because he does do more than everyone expects, in terms of blocking and catching, of course, being his job title. But my dog of the week, the Jody's dog of the week, I went with Puka Nakua. Now I know you might be thinking like, what could this dude do that he hasn't impressed us with, right? But it's what hasn't he done? You know what I mean? My guy got Cooper Kupp back in the lineup this week, and he still had 7 catches, 71 yards, and a touchdown. Cooper
Mm-hmm.
Kupp, he went 8 catches, 118 yards. Now this is crazy. The target spread on the team now is wild, right? So Coop had 12, Puka had 11. Next closest was 5 with 2-2. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, bro. My guy Puka is definitely top dog, especially with the main man Coop himself on his first game back. So, dog of the week, my man. Still getting the targets he was getting before. Just there's an added mix of Coop, who's also just as good.
Yeah. My minor setback, major comeback this week. CJ Stroud and the Texans. Stroud threw what he thought was the game winning touchdown with 1:49 to go.
Uh,
However, Desmond Ritter led a 2-minute drive to kick the game winning field goal and send the Texans
mm-hmm.
packing. It's still encouraging, though, to see Stroud, to continue to excel. He threw for another, almost 250 yards, and he threw that one touchdown that he thought was a game winner. Through 5 games, he still hasn't thrown his first NFL interception. I expect Stroud and the Texans to bounce back next week against the Saints at home. Next, we got the no cap hats off play of the week. All right. So we got to go to college football for this one. And
Okay. The
let me
mix
just set
up.
the scene. Let me just set
Yeah,
the
let me
scene
let me
for
hear
you,
it
my guy.
because I did not watch this
Um,
one. Oh wait, no, I definitely seen the clips. I definitely seen the clips. I'm gonna let you talk though.
Miami, Georgia Tech,
Yeah, the U,
ACC
correct?
battle.
Miami.
Miami's back. The
Yeah, yeah,
U,
the U.
the U. This was the weekend for all the teams that were back too. Horns
Horns
down, by the way.
down.
But so here's the situation. Miami is winning the game 20-17 with 33 seconds
Yeah.
remaining in the game. Georgia Tech has used their last timeout. So Anil ends the game. Like you take a
Yep.
knee, the play clock runs it out, game over. However, instead of kneeling, the Hurricanes turn around, hand the ball off, and go to run it. Not only do
Yeah.
they run it, but the ball carrier fights for extra yards.
Yep. For
I don't
whatever
know if he was
reason.
trying to get stats or like they just weren't aware of the situation or what. But as he's doing that, Georgia Tech predictably rips at the ball. He fumbles and Georgia
Yep.
Tech recovers. They go to replay review. It's kind of a close one, but the call on the field was that it was a fumble, so the call
Humble.
stands. You know the deal. Of course, the Yellow Jackets proceed to go down the field in 4 plays, 24 seconds, score a game-winning touchdown, win it 23-20.
Crazy. Yeah. When
Now,
I saw that
in
video on X, wild.
the moment, before he even fumbled, the analyst for ESPN was saying, "This is dumb. I don't know why they're even running it. Like, I hope they just take a knee. They should just take a knee. It's
Yeah.
game over." And then he saw him hand it off. He's like, "Oh, why are they even doing that?" And then the guy's fighting for extra yards. He's like, why is he fighting for extra yards? Then he fumbles. And he's like, oh my God. And they lost their mind. They were like,
Yeah.
what are they doing? And, this is one of the worst coaching decisions I've seen since Mario Cristobal made the same mistake in 2018 against Stanford while he was coaching at Oregon. Oregon just needed to take knees to end the game. They hand the ball to their freshman running back who fumbles. Stanford goes and
Dang.
ties it and forces overtime. I can't remember who won that game in overtime, but I know it went to OT and one of those two, one of them won. But
Yeah.
regardless,
Yeah.
like, how does Mario Cristobal not learn from that mistake? You're one of the highest paid coaches in college football, and Mario Cristobal is a really good football coach. So don't think I'm saying that he's not. But that was terrible, like clock management, game management. I mean, that was an awful mistake that it cost his team the game. It cost
Yeah, it
them a
looks like
win.
Stanford went on to win that one 38-31 in OT. So they scored a tutty and held Oregon out.
Yeah, there you go. So he's lost 2 games now that he very easily could have won by just taking knees. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's a tough situation.
I couldn't believe it when it happened. I lost my mind watching it. I was like, what is going on?
I was literally watching that clip on X, like, is this real? There's no way this just happened, right? And then I seen it like on 5 different apps, right, where people are just like retweeting or quote tweeting, whatever. And it's like, dang, that really happened. I can't believe that. That's crazy. Because it was like 33 seconds. Like, it made
Take
no
a
sense. And
knee.
I think it was only third down or something.
Yeah, it's third down. They're out of
Yeah.
timeouts. You take a knee, it's game over.
Yeah. It's
Cut and dry.
crazy.
There's no yeah, I mean, there was no reason to hand the ball off at all.
Hey man, that's their decision. And then I seen today or heard, I don't know if I was watching ESPN or what, but they were like, yeah, the assistant coach said he should have jumped in there and stopped the play call, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, well, that time's passed, bro. You lost the game.
I
Anyway,
mean, yeah, there's no point in playing the blame game now. It
yeah,
happened. You lost. I mean, because here's the thing: the running, terrible decision making by the staff, but the running back doesn't need to fight for extra yards and then fumble.
yeah,
Then, even when that happens, the defense, there's no excuse for letting a team go 75 yards in 24 seconds in 4 plays and score a touchdown with no timeouts left. That's
yeah.
no,
That is
that's terrible.
impressive on the other end.
The whole thing. So, Miami, no cap, hats off. Couldn't believe I saw it.
Yeah, no, I could agree with that. But I want to get into the Strahan Munoz Award. Shout out the big fellas, and I'll go first on this one today. I mean, as we mentioned, I was at the game, and I will say there's one dude that I haven't wanted to pick him all year just because I wanted to see him live first, and it was everything I could expect. Maybe even better. Like, he was doing some things I'd never witnessed, and so I'm giving it to Jason Kelsey. This dude, I seen a play where he was pulling, right? So he obviously had to snap the ball. He pulled, held like chip on the edge, and then just came flying at the linebacker and like he blasted him. He jumped off his feet, pushed the dude to the ground. It was crazy. That was just one play, but there was times I was watching it and I caught myself watching him over the play, and I was like, I can't do this right now. There's better things going on than me watching him. But every time I watched him, it was great. There was he had really good pass pro where he would literally just hop over to help whoever had AD, right? Block him for like 3-4 seconds. And then he would just sit there and like watch the play unfold. And it was crazy the clock he has in his head just because, you only need 3 to 5 seconds, I think, technically, is what they say, right? To get the play off from a passing perspective. But he would do his job. When it was over, he'd just watch. Like he would turn into me. And it was just crazy that he had that much like knowledge of the game to where he either had to keep blocking the dude because he's on him, or he would help whoever and just save his energy. And Jalen Hurts is scrambling to finish the play, or he's out of the pocket dumping it off to someone who knows. But
Well,
his
and
game sense is crazy.
I mean, one, it makes me happy to hear that you watched him on some plays and not the ball. That's really hard for people to do. But you
Yeah,
gain a greater appreciation for guys like Jason Kelsey when you do that
yeah,
because you realize, wow, this guy does so much. Two, everyone talks about Hurts on the QB sneak. and the
It's a
guy's
lot of
pushing from
him.
behind. No, people like the most underrated part. It's really not even the push from behind. It's literally Kelsey just going underneath everyone and just
Yeah.
submarining it forward. After every time they do that, you see his like helmet's like halfway off and he's like adjusting it and like
Oh,
so like
no,
he's
that literally happened.
honestly
His
he's
helmet was
really
off on one of those plays.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He's actually the reason that play is so successful. I'm convinced. Every time I watch it, he
Yeah.
gets so much push and he gets so low. I really think it's the push how it helps, and it helps that Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds and
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying those things aren't real. What I'm saying though is the biggest factor on that play is actually Jason Kelsey.
Yeah. No, he's a big part of it. And I will say I did learn, this might be dumb. I don't know how many people know this. So maybe it's not. But I did learn because I was watching Jason Kelsey a decent amount that the guard, so you know how the like center will point out the linebackers or whatever, right? You see him like look up, point at whoever. Well, I didn't realize that the guard will like tap him when the quarterback is ready for the snap. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I still
a lot of
thought
teams do
people
that.
were like peeking underneath their legs, like, oh, okay, we're good.
No,
And so that was one
no, a
thing I
lot of
did
times
learn.
centers will do the peek back and then yeah, give him the
Yeah.
tap to let him know like, hey, snap it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one thing I learned after watching the linemen this week. I mean, granted, they were on the road, so that's probably another reason
Or
why.
sometimes they don't even tap him. You'll see a guard just like move his hand in front of the center's face to
Yeah.
like let him. You'll see him like look back and then go,
Yeah, yeah.
and that means they snap it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so I learned
Um,
that.
my my Strahan side of this, T.J. Watt. He had
Yeah.
another pretty dominant performance in that Ravens Steelers rivalry. He held Lamar Jackson in check, 2 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 punch on Zay Flowers, and a fumble recovery that effectively ended the game during the Ravens 2-minute drill. If you want to laugh today, just look up T.J. Watt punching Zay Flowers. He dropped into coverage, and Zay Flowers tries to catch like
Like
a
a little hitch.
controlled
Yeah.
slant hitch route, and T.J. Watt just punches the ball up, but he misses the ball and punches Zay Flowers in the helmet. Um, and it's a pretty funny looking video, but he did everything for that Steelers defense. He was awesome, and then he got the game clinching fumble recovery to seal it, and he slid to seal the win. So good for him.
Mhm.
Good for the Steelers. Big time game from T.J. Watt. We're used to seeing that at this point.
Yeah, so next up we got our Who's Cooking Award. Now, I had two people in mind for this one. One was, great performance, haven't seen in a while. Other one, I talk about him decent amount, not as impressive as he
You love
has been.
Josh Dobbs.
And bro,
You love
he's
Josh
a
Dobbs. I'm
gamer.
just
He's
gonna
a
spoil it.
gamer for
You
his
love
yeah.
Josh Dobbs.
Well, okay, but I want to give an honorable mention, never been done before. Honorable mention Justin Fields on that Thursday night game.
There.
He went 15 for 29, 282 and 4 tutties. Something we haven't seen all year. But yeah, I'm going with Josh Dobbs. I kind of seen this as like a maybe comeback next week, against the Rams. Who knows? But Josh Dobbs went 15 for 32, 166 yards. Not, that's not as impressive. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 1 fumble. Now, I will say, most of those incompletions, he's picking good spots for the ball. It's just not, like he's throwing them low to where it's out of
Come
reach of the
on.
defender. Hey, come on, man.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm
just hear me
calling you
out.
out
Hear
on
me out.
this one. I'm
Hear me
calling you
out.
out on this one.
Hear
That
me out.
stat line is not even good.
No, it's
How is
not.
it
He's
even
he's not. No, this is him not cooking. Trust me. That's
okay?
this.
All right.
But
All
I'm
right.
trying to paint the picture that most of these incompletions aren't bad. Like, yeah, you could overthrow some people. Sure, he did plenty of those. I'd say at least 4. He was throwing them low where they kind of bounce to the dude. He's got to slide, try to catch it. Doesn't happen. Now he threw 2 picks. One of those was a pick 6. Yeah, that's not good. I could be honest about that. He had a fumble where dropped back classic, got blasted off the blind side. Mind you, on that play, the running back had a choice between close guy, outside guy. He went outside guy, got blasted,
No.
got blasted.
Nah.
So I don't want to make it sound like I don't think that's or that I think that's a great stat line. It isn't, but I do think he'll be better. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, I had a guy who wasn't cooking, or he was cooking up something awful in that kitchen. I said he wasn't the reason they lost, or he wasn't the only reason they lost, but he was a reason they lost, and that's
Yeah.
Dak Prescott. was awful on Sunday Night Football. He went 14 for 24, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 INTs, 3 sacks. Wasn't all his fault, but he and his squad cooked up an awful dish against the 49ers. They had stuff going on fire in that game. So Dak, not cooking.
I'll say Josh Dobbs, his plating was off today. He burnt some food and he couldn't plate too well. That'll be my analysis on him.
Okay.
Now, this Boo Boo Evans
My
award I'm gonna
favorite
get into.
award.
So I know I talked a lot about this Rams Philly game. I mean, I was there, but this one there's a story attached to it. So Ben
Okay.
Skoranek, spoiling the answer. Ben Skoranek. This dude had a role last year, kind of got bigger last year, right? The year before he was kind of in the mix, not anything too crazy. But he was on special teams a lot more yesterday, considering the return of Coop. We have Tutu, who's been making a name, and Puka, obviously, still going crazy as a rookie. Now, this guy gets in the game. Me and Fish look at each other and say, why is this guy in the game? I was like, I'd rather have Van Jefferson out there, go deep, and not get nothing, as opposed to this guy. I was like, why don't we have our dudes, Coop, Puka, and Tutu out there with Higbee? But instead, we got Ben Skoranek as one of those four, right? So, what happens? Hutt get the ball. Stafford looks, hits him off the hands. Almost intercepted. Luckily, it hit the ground. This was his only target of the game. And then me and Fish look at each other, bro. What were we just talking about? Why is this guy in the game? And that's the one play he gets. I was like, this is crazy. And then, unfortunately, next play, I'm pretty sure, throw to Puka, he fumbles. We lose 1,000,000 yards, got a punt. But Ben Skoranek, man, he's had a job and lost it multiple times over the past couple of years. I don't know. I
All
don't
right.
know.
All right. Let me add some context right now. Okay. Number one, Skoranek has never been like a starting on receiver on this offense, right? In the Super Bowl, it was more that Super Bowl year, his rookie year. He was a special teams player. He
Mm-hmm.
played a little bit on offense when they needed him to because
Mm-hmm.
Odell got hurt, right?
Yeah.
Robert Woods was hurt. So, okay. Last year, he played out of necessity because
Yeah.
so many guys got hurt. Van was hurt most of the year. Coop got hurt, all that. Well, in doing so, they found that role for him where he was a bigger guy. He's a really good blocker, like
Yeah.
a
No,
really
he
good
had some
blocker
good
for a
blocks
receiver.
yesterday. Don't get me wrong.
So
On the
so
edge, but
they found that they like using him more like an H, like
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of that tight
Like a
end
wing
mover
kind of.
guy as
Yeah.
opposed to a true slot. So I think what McVay likes doing is going Puka and Coop as the two true receivers on the field. Tutu gives you nothing blocking. He's a little guy.
Yeah, you're not
So
wrong.
you take Tutu out, you bring Skoranek in, and it's almost like your version of 12 personnel with Skoranek and Higbee. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what they're creating. And so my dad said something about Skoranek being out there. And I was like, well, when Skoranik's in, it's either run or play action pass because they're not spreading you out with Skoranek.
No,
I mean,
okay,
that's
okay.
again, that's
Fish also said
McVay's
that
version
exact
of,
same thing. He
you
said
know,
that too. He's like, this has got to be a run play. There's no other reason he's
yeah,
in.
that's because he is a great blocker, still
Yeah.
developing as a pass catcher. And I will not argue his one target. Yeah, he went right off his hands. I mean, however, I would say that if you're not getting any targets and that's you get your one target, it's kind
Yeah.
of tough sometimes. You're not in the flow of the game. I get it, but in McVay's defense, I do think he likes using Skoranek as sort of a personnel changer because
Uh-huh.
defenses probably count him as a receiver, but he's so versatile because he's such a good blocker. You can use him in different ways, and
Yeah.
that's his way of getting to, like I said, 12 personnel. So
Yeah.
don't be hating on my guy Ben Skoranek is all I'm saying.
All I'm saying is the context of the play where me and Fish look at each other, bro. What is this? What is going on? And then that almost happens. It was just, it was just bang, bang, bang. We talk about it. That happens. Almost lost the ball on a turnover. You know what I mean?
That is funny. That is really funny. All right, so we got the turnover on downs. First down, I'm going to give you a trend I'm seeing, right? So let's pull it up first. So I saw this multiple games yesterday A lot of guys from that McVay Shanahan tree are doing this,
Uh-huh.
specifically McVay and Shanahan. um,
No
but
McDaniel?
I think I've seen McDaniels do it a little bit. But what you're seeing is these running back short motions, and then they go to option routes. So, like, this was
Okay.
in the Niner game on 3rd and 4. They short motion McCaffrey out because it forces the linebacker out of the box. So now you know you're getting man with that backer and you isolate that backer
Yeah.
in space. And now it just becomes an option route for McCaffrey. He can go in if the backer's outside leverage, or he can go out if the backer's inside leverage, right at the sticks. So you'll watch it here. Like I said, you can kind of see what the motion is going to be. And the rest of the play really doesn't matter. This play is truly to isolate McCaffrey. Anything else that happens in the play is essentially window dressing. So here you go. You get a little short motion, and see, he doesn't even go as a receiver. He's still like a running back. He's just way wide. They
Yeah.
motion Debo in window dressing, right? This is an option route for McCaffrey. He gets outside leverage, so he
Oh.
goes inside. Now he doesn't make the catch, but guess what? He gets absolutely destroyed. He gets rocked, and it's
Uh,
you know
Head or neck
hitting a
area? Is that what that
defenseless
was?
receiver. Yeah. So you can see outside leverage. Okay, I go in and I
Yeah.
get it right at the sticks. Purdy delivers it probably a second late, which is why he ends up getting rocked here. But you know, still gets them the penalty and they get the first down. So it's a really effective play. I see the Rams do it with Kyron Williams right now, who's
Mm.
certainly not as good at this as McCaffrey, but it's an effective play for them as well. And it's just something I've noticed a lot of teams trying to ISO these running backs on linebackers or nickels to give them that option route, especially on a 3rd and 4 type play like this. When you have a weapon like McCaffrey, that little short motion where he lines up here, and it's funny seeing him. He just still lines as a back. He's just 6 yards from the quarterback instead
Yeah,
of right
just at the
next to him.
numbers now.
Yeah, he's just out there in space. It is it's pretty funny kind of seeing that. It looks funny, but
Yeah.
very effective. And again, it tells you like, okay, we're getting man. I'm gonna have this option route here wide open. So if you didn't get that and the backer stayed in the box and you knew it was zone, well, now maybe there's another look to the play. But once Purdy recognizes it's man, he knows I've got one on one with McCaffrey. That's my guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say that's like out of context. If you just see it right there, it's like, well, what's Christian McCaffrey doing lined up so far away from Brock?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I do want to say briefly, the Rams ran a lot of empty yesterday. It was putting Kyron out there on the edge, which was kind of wild.
Not surprising to me because of that Philly D line.
Yeah, that makes sense. But second down, we got the bet for next week. So I will say, your boy's been cooking up on these. Now I didn't hit on the parlay. I didn't hit on the ones I threw out on all of them. But the one that I chose, being, let me double check. We got Colts -1. Gardner Minshew pulled it out. You know what I mean? Hit on that bad boy. This week, I haven't even chose a winner. Okay, well, let me run through them. I got Rams money line. The over-under was 47, and the spread is -6 versus the Cardinals. Rams are at home next week. I think they at least win. -6, you could maybe toy with that. I feel like that's a little high. If you put that down to -3, you might be cooking. I got Texans versus the Saints over 40.5. Texans score a lot of points. Saints with Kamara being back, I think they average over 20 now. Detroit -3 versus the Bucks on the road. So the Bucks are home, and Detroit has the 3-point favorite. Still like that one. And then Commanders Falcons over 42 was another one I was peeping. I think my final answer. I'm gonna take the Commanders Falcons over 42. I like that one.
Nice. All
Commanders
right.
with the enemy have been scoring hella points, especially against semi decent opponents, and I think they both have some good talent around them to where they could both score a good amount. We've seen the Falcons take the dub yesterday, and then the Commanders, like I said, they've been scoring a lot with the enemy.
All right. We got the third down breakdown where I give you a third down from a critical game on Sunday, help decide the game, and just tell you what happened, right? And why it happened. So we're going to go to the Jags and Bills. All right.
7-11.
Third
What a
and
score!
15. Yeah, a really interesting game. Could have been
Yeah,
scoregami, huh?
yeah, probably.
So 3rd and 15. Now the Jags are going to show pressure, right? They're going to show this pressure look up front, but they're going to drop the two interior players to become the hook droppers. They're
Mhm.
also going to kind of show pressure like these guys might come off the edge. Those guys are both going to drop to the flat. They've got their two corners that are dropping to thirds. And then there's a middle of the field safety who's so deep you can't even see him on the screen right now. He's going to drop to the middle of the field. Now that all 22 doesn't drop until Tuesday, so we never have it
Yeah.
when we break these things down. Would be really nice to see that on this version of it, for this
Yeah,
play specifically, because you'll see it's tough to see
everything
the routes
happened towards
develop,
us.
but you'll see what you're going to get basically is like a levels concept, right? You're going to get the deep cross from the opposite side with Gabe Davis. On the same side, I believe this is Khalil Shakir, is going to run the deep over route, right? So that's kind of your levels, and then Diggs is going to run the post really deep here,
Yeah,
and then you'll get the late check release from the tight end and the back, who eventually motions in to make it two back to max protect, and then they'll check release late, right? So you're going to get this levels concept versus four
was this
under three
cover
deep
3?
from the Jags. Yeah. So here you go. Levels concept versus four under three deep. Right, on 3rd and 15. Now you're going to see these guys are going to drop out hard because they know it's 3rd and 15. These routes have to get deep. Now the Jags do get pressure. They run a little TE game, little Texas. They get pressure on Josh Allen with
And
Josh
he just
Allen.
slings it. Yeah. Yeah, that
And
they were going
Allen
crazy with that on Westwood 1.
feels like he's got a one-on-one matchup, and he does. Diggs has the corner beat. You can see down here, this is the middle of the field safety. He bit on the initial over route, so he came
Uh-huh.
downhill, left Darius Williams one-on-one with Diggs on the post, and Diggs actually has him beat. But this is such a long throw, and he got pressure. Allen kind of cannoned it off his back foot, and it ends up kind of short, and Darius Williams catches up to him,
Yeah,
makes an
big.
incredible play with the interception. Big time football play for the Jaguars, and what ended up being a win in London.
Yeah.
Huge win for the Jags, and you can see why that play was so critical on 3rd and 15. That's the difference between a turnover and possibly a touchdown for the Bills in what ended up being a one possession game, tight game. Huge play by Darius Williams. Huge play by that Jags defense, who
Yeah.
I said I liked last year. They do some fun stuff. I just love that they showed the pressure, forced the max protect, force versus the deep routes. They drop out heavy. The safety bites on the deep over, but stays with the post, makes an incredible play on it. They got enough pressure. Allen didn't quite get everything he wanted on it, and so it ends up being an interception.
Yeah. It was, I mean, I know I talked about it. I've been on a lot of Westwood 1 hearing the game calls, right? I just throw on the radio, hear the dudes with the play-by-play. And so when that happened, they were like, "Oh, every time there was a Josh Allen play on Josh Allen, like, "Oh, Josh Allen just sacked Josh Allen." They're going crazy. But yeah, so 4th down on this turnover on downs is the bad beat. I'm gonna give you two unconventional ones. I dabble in the prize picks. Over under on props, right? So receiving yards, rushing yards, touchdowns, blah blah blah. And so I went Rashid Shaheed at 28 and a half yards. You know what he finished with?
28.
Yep. And then on
That's tough.
the flip side, I had CJ Stroud 24 or 248 and a half yards. My guy got 249. So, both of those just right at the wire, too good of lines.
Wow.
Like one hand you get the positive, one hand you get the negative. But then I do want to give out a shout out to the Texan. I had to pick on it last week. It was Texans plus 2.5. So if you had the flip side, right, the Falcons at minus 2.5, you would have not hit that on because of that field goal late in the game. So a bunch of down to the wire right there this weekend. So tough.
Yeah, I mean, that's how that goes.
Yeah.
So finish out week 5 here. We got the banger of the
I
week.
didn't even realize that today.
Your boy's up, and so Drake dropped a new album on Friday
Mm-hmm.
for all the
For all the
dogs, right?
dogs. Yeah,
Um,
that's what he claims.
listened to most of it, not all of it yet, but most of it.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think it's just okay. Not like a
I
huge
wasn't a
fan of
fan.
it.
Was not a fan.
But I will say 2 songs I liked. My favorite song I think on there is Daylight. Daylight, I think it has a nice beat to it, you know,
Uh-huh.
and I'm also, like, more of a beat guy than, like, the lyrics
Oh, yeah, no
themselves.
doubt. I
So, the
definitely have some
beat
songs like that from Drake.
yeah, so that one, the beat's really good, so I like it.
Uh-huh.
And then First Person Shooter, it's got J. Cole, and you know I'm a huge J.
Just
Cole
heat.
fan.
Just straight heat.
So, that song is pretty good too. So those are my 2 favorites if you're listening to the new Drake album. Those were my 2 favorites. I think everything else is
Yeah,
just
it's
kinda okay.
hey.
It wasn't I don't think it necessarily was for me. So,
No,
that's
not at all.
kinda
I would
what I
agree.
took away from it.
Yeah, first person shooter, straight banger. That's what I expected coming on this album the whole way through, if not a lot of it, considering For All the Dogs, my guy pushed it back. And then one thing that kind of took me by surprise, you know how on Apple Music you get the stars by the songs that are
Yeah, no
popular?
stars. They didn't do it.
No. So I think the first 7 songs are all stars, which
Oh,
is
really?
First Person Shooter is one of them, I believe. Virginia Beach is another one that's popular. That's the first song on the album, so that one kind of always makes sense until it plays out a little more. But for me, I didn't really like most of the songs until later in the album, so I don't know if people didn't make it that far because they heard the first ones,
Probably.
like, or if
When
it
I
was
first went to
just,
listen, I listened on Friday, though, so that may be why. There
yeah,
were no
yeah.
stars. There were
No,
no
that's
songs
how
no
early
stars.
on, if you get there early, there's no stars, which is tough.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was literally like the first like 6 or 7 all had stars, and I was like, I thought the back end was a lot better than the front, but you know, I took that as a sign, as maybe my time is passing on the Drake.
Yeah, it
I'm
might
losing
be.
touch
We're
with the
just too
current
old.
music. Yeah,
We're just too
so
old now.
yeah.
Um, yeah, man. I think, it's Drake. He'll still be successful and everything, but yeah, those 2
Yeah,
songs were my favorites, so but, I think that closes us out for week 5. We'll be back. Big games next week. I'm excited for it. But until then, let our guy Ray
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 Ray, yes
take
sir.
us out.